What is up? Grace, peace, and welcome to Podcast of the Wills. It's Sunday night. It's 8:30. This is what we're doing now. This makes 4 weeks in a row. Live stream podcast, hanging out on YouTube. Looking forward to chatting with folks in the live chat. Looking forward to downloading the audio after we get done tonight and putting it up in the podcast feed so that if you aren't here tonight, you'll get to listen to it hopefully this week and catch up. I will say this up front. There's a lot of visuals. It's a fun part of doing this live stream as we get to kind of mix it up with visuals. I hope it'll still be enjoyable for our audio listeners. If you listen to it on audio and you're not sure what's going on, come back to the YouTube link, check out the video. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's Sunday night. It is, I'm not allowed, I don't think, to say the name of what's going on because there's all these crazy trademark things. I used to in my old job, we couldn't say that we were having a you-know-what bowl party. It was like the big game, like you'll see that on signs and billboards sometimes. It's a big game party. The big game's going on. Apparently it's a blowout. I love sports. I don't care about the Super Bowl this year. Not interested. Doesn't do it for me. Just, I don't know if it's COVID, the pandemic, quarantine, sports being weird this year. I just wasn't feeling the Super Bowl, so I'm not watching the Super Bowl. But we have more important things to get to tonight. I wrote down on my little show notes, was there some news? There's probably Star Wars news. I can't remember what it is right now. But it's not important because we have an amazing guest and we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk about top 7 Star Wars creatures. That's not a secret. We've kind of led with that all week. I want to talk about my guest for a minute. My guest is my friend, Gerry Cable. I have gotten to meet Gerry over the last, month or so, listening to his show before that. Gerry is a part of the Beyond the Blast Doors network. Gerry has a podcast called the Bombad Cast with his good friend, Scotty J. Rowe. Scotty's going to be a guest on Podcast of the Will sometime coming up soon. Gerry is often known as the Canon Junkie. I realized getting ready for this, I don't know exactly why Gerry is known as the Canon Junkie, so I'm going to get him to tell me at some point as we talk about who Gerry is. He is a man of many talents. He does impressions. Sometimes he gets booted off of YouTube for doing, rebel type behavior, crazy things. I got to be a part of that last Thursday night. It's still not available to watch. I've checked a couple of times since Thursday. I don't think that one's coming back. So Gerry, I'm sorry. But without any further ado, let me bring in my good friend, Gerry Cable. Dude, you're here.
I'm here. I was muted for a second. I did a big hey and then realized I didn't press the thing. So, hey, what's up? Yeah, Nick, thank you for having me on, man.
It is my pleasure. I'm so excited that you're here. I know we're going to have fun and watching your show, watching, the things that you and Scotty do. Y'all are all about fun. Y'all are about keeping it light, having a good time.
We're about shenanigans.
Shenanigans is the best word for it.
It really is.
I too am a big fan of shenanigans, maybe?
Shenanigan. Let's call it off.
That's right. Let's call the entire thing off. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Okay.
I have a little bit of breaking news. There is an update. I've got a reporter. We're going to check in on the game. Oh, look.
Oh, wow. What's the score? I can't see.
Oh,
wow.
It looks close, whatever that is. It looks close.
It's very close. Very close. My gosh.
Like the Nuna Ball Championships. So,
oh my gosh.
Everybody listening to this on audio are totally checked out already. Yeah, that's not going to be a
Star Wars football playing
all.
in the space sports bar in Attack of the Clones when they're watching the little droids playing football. I mean, yeah, Mr. Odds and Poops himself. Thanks,
Mr. Odds and Poops. Yeah.
I take it as a compliment.
It is a compliment.
Yeah.
Michael's calling you out on your nicknames right off the bat.
That's true. That is true. Well, you know what you can say, and I don't know if you can say it like this. It probably is too close. Maybe I shouldn't say it because it's too close. I am an internet YouTube bad boy, though. Apparently,
you are a bad boy.
Yeah, Scotty's that was all Scotty. I'll just say that, but I will take the bad boy persona. But he what was it? I don't know if you've ever seen What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show or the movie. Yes. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. But they go to what they think is a superb owl party.
The superb owl party.
Superb owl. So we're going to pronounce it like that so we don't get shut down. Superb.
That's right.
Owl.
We have the space superb owl. Oh, well, they keep breaking in. Apparently,
Oh
the
my
score
goodness,
has
yeah,
changed, but it's hard to tell.
This is it's a real knockdown drag out. When one team's got legs, the other one has their entire bottom half is a wheel.
Wheels,
I mean,
that bit's not going to last a lot longer. I'll tell you
that's
that.
just probably not. But I just that's not fair. That's cheating. That's like space steroids. Just having your entire bottom is a wheel, man. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. It's like in Saturday Night Live in the 90s. You remember they did the sketch, The All Drug Olympics, where they had all the guys
I don't think
coming on.
I have seen that one.
Oh
my gosh,
you have to
that
go
sounds
find
great.
that. Fantastic. The guy, in fact, I think it's Kevin Nealon. Like, they're just like, everything's on the table. You can do whatever you want, all the drugs, all the whatever. And Kevin Nealon's in there, like the gray sweatshirt and the red shorts and the headband. He's weightlifting and he bends down and he grabs the bar and he just stands up and his arms stay attached to the bar and there's just blood shooting out of his shoulder. And he doesn't know it because he's just jacked up on everything.
He's like PCP or something.
Yeah, it's real weird.
That's a good reference.
Real weird. All right. So, Gerry, I'm so thankful you're here tonight.
Okay.
It is a pleasure and an honor to have someone of your caliber, a member of a high-class podcasting network like the Beyond the Blast Doors Network, a show of the caliber of the Bombad Cast, which I'm going to get you to talk about here in a few minutes.
Caliber is an interesting word. High caliber, like a high-caliber potato gun is what the Bombad Cast is.
We're going to shoot you right with the potato gun.
Yes, exactly. Go ahead, continue, please.
That's fine. We have some business to get to start this off. I've teased this late in the week. This was a little bit of inspiration. I'm going to tell you where this inspiration came from. There have been several nights when I've jumped in on the Force Connect shows with some of your other BTBD friends and co-hosts and co-show havers, as I will call them. I like to call that show Drinking Star Wars because it's Friday night. It's time to get some drinks. It is a little bit weird. Check out on a Friday night. And on several occasions, I have noticed that my friend Gerry tends to divert himself towards gin. Gin tends to be a drink of choice, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm totally fine with gin. Alcohol of all kinds. It's fine. But as I was thinking about this show, thinking about you coming on tonight, I thought, I'm going to do something crazy. And it was inspired partially by you and partially by Stanley Tucci. And so if I can line the two of you up, I don't know if you've seen.
I would be honored if you would line the two of us up, actually.
I don't know if you've seen, but over the course of quarantine, maybe even later in the summer, this fall, Stanley Tucci has put out, I think, their Instagram videos. And it's basically him in his really fancy kitchen in his house, wherever he lives, making cocktails. And it's Stanley Tucci in like a blazer. There's probably some fancy music on in the background. Very high class, very sophisticated.
Sounds amazing. The opposite of this.
Hey, we're doing the best we can, my friend. You and me both.
Hey, hell yeah, man. Yeah, that's right.
So I've decided I want to be the Stanley Tucci of Star Wars podcasts. And so we're going to have a cocktail tonight. And I have come up with a cocktail, and it's named after you. And this cocktail, as I have decided to name it, is Gerry Juice. And it has. And here's why that clicks for me. You're a prequels guy. That's part of y'all's brand. Yeah. Gerry Juice to me is very Jawa Juice. Like, it's very adjacent.
I can see that. It
works.
Jawa Juice adjacent. Yeah.
Gerry Juice, Jawa Juice. So we're going to make a Gerry Juice tonight. And I've got all my stuff here. I think you have stuff ready as well.
I do. I do have stuff.
I prepped you ahead of time. The first thing, I got to get the camera right. First thing that's important, vintage Star Wars glassware makes it even better. So I've got my glass.
I had to make sure I got my Jabba the Hutt.
That's right. We're not matching. We've got different ones. So I've got a little bit. It's frozen up. I've got some ice here.
Oh,
I'm
gonna grab the ice.
That's right. I brought the ice. First key component. I'm gonna put the recipe up on the screen because I went crazy with StreamYard overlays later this week.
Who are you, Scott Jero?
That's right. We have gin. We're gonna come this way. Gin. First key, most important ingredient. Gin. So we're gonna get our gin on. Some people use a shot glass. I just pour it because let's not be crazy. So
let's just
get your gin
do
in
what
there.
you do. How much did you put in there? Is that too much?
I think we're good. I think we're right in the neighborhood.
We're about there. You go right about to the top of that little Burger King line.
That's right. There. Right across the top of the Burger King logo.
Perfect for
next up
cocktails.
Next up, and I put mine in a mason jar because I live in Alabama, and that's kind of on brand for Alabama. Some Crystal Light lemonade. We're saving calories here, Gerry. This is a very effective cocktail. So I'm going to put, a splash. I'm going to pour it on my computer. There we go. So we got some Crystal Light
powdered lemonade.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. We're both going to get there. So you add your Crystal Light lemonade.
I'm going to add we need some
that's right.
Some fancy music or something.
Some jazz in the background. So Gerry's going to get the lemonade in.
The sun. There we go.
All right. So you can I don't need a spoon. We'll just give it a little shake. And then for me, to top it off, I have some tangerine LaCroix.
Oh.
I don't typically drink LaCroix. My wife does. Some of my children do. But for what we need is a little citrusy seltzer to top off our drink. Give it a little bubble.
See, I have just a little bit of a plain LaCroix here, but
either way, you got your seltzer. And I have in my cup, because I had to test this out earlier to make sure that, I wasn't poisoning people. I do have a lime wedge. I have some other lime wedges that are across the room in the refrigerator that I forgot to bring over here. So we're going to stick with the lime we already have. And I'm going to raise my glass in cheers to you, Gerry Cable, with a glass of Gerry juice. Cheers.
Cheers, Nick. Cheers. There you go. There's Leia right there on the front, and her glory. There you go. We'll because I spent some quality time on this. If anybody needs to know, here we go. Gerry juice right here. A bunch of gin. That's my favorite part of the recipe.
Pouring some Crystal Light lemonade. A splash of citrus seltzer, lime if you're feeling extra, as my kids would say. Repeat as needed. So
I'm going to add just a bit more gin because I don't think I got the right amount of bunch.
It's going to vary. Results may vary. So
it's true.
That's Gerry juice. And I wanted to do that tonight. I wanted to do that as a special part of bringing you on the show.
That's great.
It's light, it's simple. And again, LaCroix and Crystal Light. There's no calories here. This is basically like a diet. We're doing our bodies a favor.
We're on the diet. You know what? And I just now realized I have lime twisted gin, so we are good.
See?
We're good.
Ready. You're totally ready.
Yeah. See, I don't want to put the. I don't want to get in trouble because I'm such a bad boy. Since it is the
Michael's at it ready.
My results may Gerry.
May Gerry. Yeah. There we go.
I'm just kidding, Michael. No worries. That's cool.
And Pete's in. Pete thinks this is amazing, so we're heading in a good direction right now.
Peter!
So, that's right.
Welcome, Peter. Yes.
If we need to
being fancy,
bring in some Gerry juice for Pete, we can mail him some to New Jersey if we have to.
It will happen. I'm going to start making this all the time. And Nick, so I'm the first person you're making a cocktail for.
You're the first and only Podcast of the Wills cocktail recipient.
Do I do a speech or something?
It's your world. It's your world, kid. We're here for you.
I'd like to thank most of all God for allowing gin to be a thing, and just George for the Star Wars glass. So thank you.
That's right.
And that's
it.
That's
well done, George and Mr. Burger King.
Dude. We got to figure out. Me and Scotty we're trying to figure out the
Rick McCallum dude.
The Rick McCallum salute. Dense. I want fabulous. It to be dense.
I love it.
You got to take a sip out of a coffee cup. You got to take a sip out of a coffee cup and go dense.
Dense. That's it.
Dense. As if you don't watch the beginning documentary, you don't even care about any of this.
Absolutely. I want to shout out Framey. Framey's in the chat. Frank and Amy. I want to especially shout out to Frank. I don't know if you saw this on Twitter earlier this week or end of this last week. Frank has been sick. He has been in the hospital.
Yes.
He has gone through some medical stuff. So I am so glad to see you on tonight, hanging out with us. We've missed you.
Same here.
In fact, I sent him a message and just said, we hadn't seen him in the live chats in some of you guys' shows lately. And, I'm so glad that you're doing better. And we're so glad that y'all are here hanging out with us tonight. So
absolutely.
We're going to keep moving.
Love you guys.
Glad to see all of our friends. I'm so thankful. Honestly, and I say this every week, my thanks always goes out to you guys and Josh and Andy and David and Pete and all the folks on the Beyond the Blast Doors Network, because y'all have created such a great community that I get to just hang out in and be a part of as a patron, as a listener, as somebody who follows all your shows. And then to be able to do my show and to have some of y'all's folks come hang out with me on a Sunday night is truly an honor. And to have y'all as guests. I mean, so I love this community that y'all have built and that we all get to be a part of.
I mean, honestly, we're just a bunch of mainly white men screaming on the internet about nonsense. And then luckily we have Arzu and many other people who come in and
Arzu and Raven and Shannon kind of help level things out a little bit. They make us
look smarter than we are and stuff, which is the truth. But you know what? No. It's honestly the community isn't there without all the people in the live chat, over down here because we're on YouTube. But I was saying, Nick, you just feel like a co-host on there because you are like they bring you on like this Friday they brought me on the Force Connect Friday or what would you call it?
Drinking Star Wars.
Drinking Star Wars. And they just left me on for the rest of the time. I was like, what am I? Who am I? Nick Milky? Like, what are you like going to bring me on just to like, Josh and Pete when they can? I love you, Pete. I'm just kidding. But anyway,
I'm always lucky
seriously.
to get to hang out.
Same here, man. I'm seriously such an honor to come on here. And I've never been on a show or anything. I've never had anyone say, I made this drink thinking of you. And this is named after you.
And we're not going to get into how weird that might seem on the surface. We're going to just go with, hey, it's a drink for a cool guy.
Yeah, exactly. No. See, there's nothing. Yeah, no weirdness here, except for all the weirdness that's about to transpire. So.
Well, that's right. Well, speaking of weird, here's what I want to know. As we get to know Gerry a little bit, as my listeners, the folks that listen to Podcast of the Wheels and have for, I think we started Podcast of the Wheels in 2018. So we're working on like 4 years now, which is crazy.
Nice, man.
But no, that's not the right math. Maybe 3 years. Sorry. Math isn't the way to go. 3 years, whatever. We've been around for a minute. We've got some friends that listen. And so for those of our listeners that don't know who Gerry is, who don't know the Canon Junkie, I would love for you to tell me, and then I'm just going to let you talk for a little bit. Tell me your Star Wars, kind of origin story. I know that you're about 10 years younger than me, so we come from a little bit different perspective on Star Wars on certain fronts. Not a lot of them, but a few. I know especially you're, a prequels guy. We kind of hit the prequels at different times. I think that's a big focus that comes up a lot in conversations. So I want to hear about your Star Wars origin story, just kind of you and Star Wars in general. And then I really want you to tell us more about the Bombad cast, how that got started, you and Scotty. So please take the floor while I take another sip of my Gerry juice and tell us about Gerry.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to need a sip of Gerry juice to tell this story. So, oh my goodness. But, gosh. So I've kind of, Star Wars has been one of those things that just kind of always existed in my life. Like I remember, I think the earliest memories I have of Star Wars are these two. And I was really little staying at my aunt and uncle's house, and the lightsaber duel on Bespin from Empire Strikes Back is on the TV somewhere. And my cousin Joey, who was like big into Star Wars, he's the one who kind of started getting me more into it and everything. Like, hey, you should get into this and all that. Honestly, he might be about your age, if not a little older, actually, a couple years older than you. But he was like right at where I was a little kid, right? Mm-hmm. And he was like a teenager and stuff. So maybe he's a few years older than you and stuff, because you would have been like, I think. Anyway, all that to say, but I remember seeing that and going like, that is kind of cool. I was a big, I don't remember, what's the name of that show? It was an old Hanna-Barbera cartoon that they played in the 90s a lot. It was Thundar the Barbarian. He had the sun sword. And I knew of this before I was big into lightsabers. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of my thing. I had like an old plastic sword where the top had broken off, but I was like, it's cool. It's a sun sword now. I just like the flames will come out and all that. And my cousin, I remember him telling me lightsabers are like sun swords, but better. And I did not believe him until like a couple of years down the road. But then another time I remember, both of my memories are from Empire Strikes Back being on TV or something around me. Okay. That's just all I remember. But there was another time we were over at my grandmother's house, and the cousins and aunts and uncles are all over there. If I'm remembering correctly, and I think my parents could be watching tonight. My mom was asking me what time it starts. So again, like, hey mom,
Nice.
I'm an alcoholic who really likes gin. So you can go ahead and cry about that if you want.
His reputation precedes him. Sorry, mom.
Yes. That's they knew I like gin so much, mother. They made a drink after me. No, I've told them that already. But I believe it was Yoda on Dagobah with Luke, but it was just, I don't remember exactly what scene, but I remember being a little creeped out by Yoda at the time because, you know, I was a fragile child, and some might say, for a bit. But just after that, I remember like slowly getting more into it. Like the Bendums came out, you know, like the bendable action figures and stuff before Hasbro started Power of the Force 2, which to me was just Power of the Force 1 because I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything that had come before. But so you had the action figures, the little bendable things starting to come out. Then you had the release right before, I think it was the year before it goes to the special editions came out. They released the Faces box set, right? I've got both of those. I should have brought those down. I've got both of those box sets like upstairs right now, getting ready to be packed away, honestly. Yeah, you guys know I'm kind of in the process of moving right now, but it is I remember watching those things over and over and over again. And I actually fast forwarded through the Leonard Maltin, you know, interviews at the beginning because I was a kid, right? And I was like, let's get to the Star Wars. Let's get to the good stuff.
Need the laser swords.
Right. So I start again. I'm a big proponent for, you know, I think people sometimes think I'm younger than I am. I was born in '87, so it is like we're about like I think 9 years apart.
Yeah, I was born in '78, so we're right at 9 years.
Yeah. But my mom, the math teacher, did that math for me today because she was asking about what show I was going on. Like, thank you. Who
is this internet stranger that you're going to hang out with?
Can I call his mom and see if he's okay? Yeah. Right.
Can we get clearance on this?
Don't give him your social or anything. And, you know, okay, mom, it's not that kind of thing. But oh goodness. So I think a lot of people think though that if you're born after a certain time, you only remember the special editions or whatever. That's not true because I grew up with those old ones, but then loved the special editions. Whereas you got, and I'll let Scotty explain it, but it's kind of weird how we're the other side of the coin. He's much younger than both of us,
right?
Mid-20s, and he refuses to watch the special editions. He's only ever watched. He never watched the 1997, the original special editions, which I call the definitive editions, like the ones with like I call him Michael Chiklis Jabba and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
You know, it's like he looks like he looks like a gangster. From like he looks like he should be an extra on The Sopranos, but made out of Play-Doh though, like electronic Play-Doh. But you know, there's charm to all of that for me, and you know, back in the day, I didn't think of it. I was excited because I was alive in that time when, hey, all the movies are releasing, and my parents were into it before me too, right? They're not as diehard as I am because they're not podcasting and YouTubing in their spare time. I am, but they loved it. They kind of got me into it, and then I took it full on. So they were like, we're going to take you to see every one of those things that are re-released in theaters. So I got to see them all, so awesome. Every special edition. As soon as it came out, we went to watch it, and it was the best. It was such a great time, right? I don't know if you remember that time and everything.
Yeah.
So fun, you know, and like I believe it was Taco Bell at the time had special edition toys, and so they had like I had some of these things for years, man. And I mean, just like I still have that. I think it's like that. You're gonna pull out the Yoda.
I'm looking for it. It's over. Is it the Yoda Darth Vader? Hang on.
I have one somewhere still. I still have it. It's my original one. I did not break it apart to see how it worked because I figured it out.
Yes, there it is. You know,
smart.
Got Vader over here. We've got Yoda over here.
Ooh, it's magic. It's the magic of the Force.
It is the magic of the Force. I've got almost the whole set. I'm only missing one piece, I think, thanks to some friends. See, you remember you had this, the cube, the puzzle cube.
That's the one that was my favorite one. And that's got
flips and rotates.
Oh, that's got the best picture of Scotty's favorite scene in all of the special editions, the Jabba and Han Solo scene from A New Hope.
Yep, here it is. I'm about to find it.
If you watch or listen to the Bombad cast, you know I am being completely facetious because he hates that scene with a passion. If you follow us on Twitter, we have we'll start little fake. They're half fake. We do like wrestling Twitter feuds, like we're like.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Okay,
it took me a minute. It took me a minute to figure out how to get it there.
Go big screen. Go big screen for you, man.
Yeah. Hang on.
Yeah. I gotta see this thing. You're like a little tiny for me. Oh man.
Wait. No, not you.
Oh, hi everybody.
Oh. I don't know how to run this thing.
Oh my goodness. It is. I can see it though because it's like that shot of. There it is. There it is. Look at that. It's like Han with his finger in Jabba's chest. I think that was my favorite, actually, of the things in there because when I was a kid, that looked great. I'm sorry, that looked like it was Lucasfilm. That looked amazing back in the day. We're like, that's Jabba the Hutt with Han Solo,
and here's why I had
Boba Fett.
And here's why I had a problem with that scene. I find there's a middle ground for I have on a zip drive the unspecialized editions. That every now and then when it takes the effort to like hook it up to a computer and watch it and whatever, the ones that I grew up with, I love those. I love the unspecialized editions. Like when the lightsabers, when they're on the Death Star and they turn at just that right angle and all you see is the light pole, like the end of it.
I love that. They still have a little bit of that. They still,
yes.
That's the thing is they didn't go back and like beef that stuff up. George just was like, I want to put this right here.
Okay. Well, and even for me, like even as a high school kid, or high school, early college when the special editions came out, 97, I guess. So yeah, I was going to college. I was already at that point into like the fixes that they did that really excited me were like the cockpit on Hoth when they're in the speeder and eliminating the bleed through that they couldn't fix in the 70s, or the 80s, all the little things like that. But the biggest problem, maybe out of the whole, the biggest problem in the special editions is that Jabba scene. Han walking around, stepping on his tail, and poking him in the chest with his finger in that scene.
Wow!
Like, for as big and bad as Jabba the Hutt was, and that we were told our entire life, that was the one thing that didn't, like, Han Solo's a badass. There's no question about it. But he wasn't so bad that he got to step on Jabba's tail and poke him in the chest. I didn't have a problem with the fact that Jabba was there. I had an issue with like the very casual nature of that relationship. Like, listen here, pal. Like that was what got me even as a late high school, early college kid.
Right.
There wasn't a fear in Han Solo that then there was later with, being hunted and the bounty that was on him and everything else.
Well, I get that. And I could also, I can sit and argue the merits of every special edition sequence all night. I honestly, I think that they with Solo, they set that just says what Han wants to say, no matter who he's talking to. Because look at how he talks to Lady.
Yes.
Come on. It's the same. It's like you're a wonderful human being, which is Scotty's least favorite line in any Star Wars film. Which I'm like, I think that's funny. I think that's really funny. But and
I think I'm in a mode that I could be persuaded depending on the day. Because that is Han Solo. He has zero F to give. He's Han Solo.
He's and that's why he survives because he gets the job done, right? But he's like,
yes, I do. Every time. And
Jabba's like, Han, my bookie, Han, my boy. Yeah, he's still, he's kind of like a little bit like, I don't know. The tail thing is really over the top, and it still looks pretty bad. Like I want them to go and redo I want a new special edition of all of the films.
That's right.
Throughout, and I want a re-release.
That's appropriate because Framey asked a minute ago, isn't it time for special editions of the special editions?
The last time they messed with them was right when George sold them, and that's why we've got McClunky now.
McClunky.
Thank the maker. I love that so much. Which existed before that, right? Because Huttese was the language before that. Ish. Sebulba says it. We've got a shirt actually I think we've only sold one because I just bought it this weekend. Finally getting some money, and it's a t-shirt on our TeePublic that is got Sebulba, my fave, and it says McClunky Classic. and stuff. So there you go. If you want to check out our TeePublic store,
That's right.
we show some love for the Plunky
Cast
Classic.
TeePublic.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Sure.
Pimping it out.
So you came up in the special. I mean, you came up before the special editions, but probably kind of hit your prime with Star Wars with the special editions as those are coming out. As a 10, 11-year-old, like that, just sweet spot.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I was 12 when the Phantom Menace came out in '99, so I was a couple years younger. But from like the time that the special editions came out to Phantom Menace, I was all in. I was done. Like I loved it. I was watching the movies over and over and over again. But after seeing them in the theater on the big screen, it finally just like clicked, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life, is obsessively love these things, right? You know, I mean, I think all of us kind of had that moment where we were like, I think I love this more than I love like any other piece of pop culture of all time. Like there's just something about it, you know? And, but yeah, so I like to say I was in the George Lucas sweet spot of 12 years old, right? Whenever, which just sounds, people turn it weird and stuff, but it's not, he's like, I made this for 12-year-olds. Yeah. Right. Yeah. To a room full of like 30, 40, 50-year-old men and women, women, and like who were all just like, I've got Star Wars bed sheets I sleep on right now. You know, like there's happy couples who sleep on like Star Wars bed sheets and stuff. I mean, just like all you got to do is look out the window, you find them, right?
They're there. You just got to find them.
They are there. You got to look. You don't look into their bedrooms because that's probably
that's true. And I'll say this. I'll throw a little shout out this morning. I teach, of course, with pandemic, everything's weird and different. On Sunday mornings, I teach an adult Sunday school class for the Episcopal Church that we go to.
Oh,
and
nice.
So, and I do it from this same seat right here. It's on Zoom, and I've got what my wife calls the Star Wars hole. I have doing a Zoom meeting, teaching Sunday school behind. Well, we had a new person show up in our Sunday school class this morning. Super nice guy, Dennis. Shout out to Dennis in case he's hanging out tonight. I invited him.
Hey, Dennis.
And after it was over with, he sent me a message on Facebook, and he just said, "Hey, I'm so glad I came today. We're new to the church. Also I loved your Star Wars background. I could talk Star Wars for hours." And I was like, got it. And so
I know it's got one.
Yeah. And so I wrote him back, and I was like, it's funny you should mention that. I said I could too, and do on a regular basis, Sunday nights, all the other. And so they're out there. All of us are out there. We're all out there. The people that grew up with Star Wars.
Yeah. Some of us, the older ones, I'm including myself in that because I feel old, but, I'm just 33, but still, a lot of like older people, like, I mean, when I grew up, it was still like being like a big fan of Star Wars wasn't like really that cool. Like you couldn't be as open about it as you can now.
Right.
Like now people are like, oh, that's cool. You're passionate about something. Like back then it was like, I'm going to give you a wedgie and shove your head in the toilet if I find out that you own a Princess Leia action figure, and it's Absolutely. Yeah. So I think we're used to like, some of us of the older generation that grew up in like the 80s and 90s are like, I can't really talk about this.
Well,
people are going to think I'm weird.
That's right. Well, and it's the gift of the internet, which is being able to reach out and connect. And,
yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Rez says it right here. There's more of us. We're out there. We just have to connect with each other. As Frankie says, Rez. We are everywhere. We're out here. Star Wars people of all stripes. And I love that conversation too. We're not going to go down that path, but the different doors and windows into Star Wars, everybody got there a different way. Everybody has a different story. And that's what's great about it is that's how it's designed. So tell me a little bit tell us about Bombad Cast. Tell us how that came together, a little bit about what y'all do, Scotty. And, I can't describe your show. And you said that Thursday night when I was actually on with you guys, the three things that everybody says about, but tell us how it started, what y'all do, all of that.
Well, okay. So, you mentioned earlier, you wondered why I'm the canon junkie.
Yes.
The answer to that is because I named myself that. Honestly, I was not given that moniker. That moniker, I made that and took it on myself because I started YouTubing, I think right before and right after Last Jedi came out. Really after Last Jedi. And I was kind of like, I listened religiously to podcasts, right? Like all Star Wars Explained. I watched Star Wars Explained. I watched Hello Greedo. I listened to Jedi Council, Collider Jedi Council for a while until it got and then like Force Center and stuff like that, like all these like amazing pods and stuff. Just and there was sometimes I would find others and I would go to those, and sometimes I would listen. Every one of us had this moment where we're like, I could do this.
I could do that.
Right? Everyone has
Yes.
this moment where like, and where we're yelling, like it's pronounced Joe Yowza, not Jew Yuzaza, or something, like every one of us has that moment. And then
that's why we're sitting here tonight.
Yes. And every one of us has had those moments where we can't remember what something is called under the lights and stuff. And we probably have hundreds of people yelling at us. Because when I named myself Canon Junkie, I was like, I know all this stuff. I'm the Canon Junkie. And it was right after Disney bought everything. So I was like, I'm a junkie of that I'm going to get in on the canon. I got into other little pieces of Star Wars, of course, when I was a kid, but I wasn't a strong reader, surprisingly. And, I wasn't, I didn't have a comic shop nearby. I played the video games, played like Terrace Kasi and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, of course, I got into stuff like that. Dude, the Terrace Kasi reference in Solo just made my entire existence relevant. But I decided, I want to be the canon junkie. I'm going to read everything I can right now, and I'm going to get into it and everything. And I was starting to listen to books before it all came out that were just on YouTube. Right. Because I'm a YouTube bad boy, like
the bad boy of the YouTube.
Bad boy of the YouTubes. But so that was basically, so I did like my own thing on YouTube. Then I made, there are still Canon Junkie buttons. I have still hundreds of them because no one knew who the heck I was whenever I went to Celebration Chicago, right? Which, when I go, a few hundred of you nerds are going to know who I am. And so they're like, yay, here we are together, then it'll be like, and everyone else would be like, why are you guys like blocking? We're trying to get to the booth where they have the old Phantom Menace cups. Come on.
That's right. Come on.
Out of the way.
I need those Taco Bell cup toppers.
Right. But, I did those videos for a while and it was very few and far between. I was not consistent at all. I was brand new to it. My videos were like the size of someone who's trying to yell about how bad the Last Jedi is, like 15, 20 minutes because you're trying to figure out how to do it. But somehow their videos never get shorter. They only get longer. So I figured podcasting is what I should get into. But I went and I met my buddy, Scotty Jero, who we knew of each other on Twitter and stuff. I know we both followed the Resistance broadcast and we knew of each other and all that kind of stuff. So we were like, hey, I know who he is and stuff, and like they would always show Scotty. Scotty would always like do the punch it videos, with them. They would always put it on there. And so I knew who Scotty was. I remember thinking like, this guy thinks he's all that in a bag of shit. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Scotty. But I met him and his lovely, lovely girlfriend, Katie. And oh my gosh, they're just the best people in the world. So I went to Celebration alone, in Chicago, because it was 2 hours away from my house.
Right.
And here I am in the biggest city I've ever been in on my own, going to this thing. And the first day I meet Scotty and Katie. And then the next day they catch me as I'm like waiting in this big long line again. And they're like, hey, you want to come hang with us? Come on. I'm like, sure. And so we go. And then that is the day they released the episode 9 trailer, which is where our video, that's the first day me and Scotty hung out, full day. Me, Scotty, and Katie. The video our viral video for Viral Sensation Scotty Gerry, if you've seen our 6 million, however many view, when you Google Rise of Skywalker trailer reaction, it's Scotty. It's our video. And my shoulders, I'm the SpongeBob in there, like in the Krusty Krab commercial, like, look, Gerry, there I am. And like he's grabbing my shoulders and everything. I remember like thinking, I don't know really who this guy is, but man, do I love him. I don't even care that he's like shaking me like a baby he doesn't like or something. That sounds really terrible. But
say, careful.
Yeah, no, I got to be careful. Bad boy. But it's the rest really is that they say is history. A couple months later, I was like, I really want to start a podcast, and I messaged Scotty and I was like, do you want to do this? And it just like from there, we're like, well, what are we going to call it? And I was like, we were like, well, what about Bombad Cast and stuff? Just like it was just a name You know, we're like trying to think of something that no one else was called because there's as many Star Wars podcasts as there are snowflakes outside of my house right now. Yes, and they're all unique and also the same at the same time.
Well, and that brings up, if I can cut you off for one quick second, we have a great question from Framey. In fact, get you some Gerry juice. I'm going to read this question. Framey put up a great question. Here's a question for both of you. How did you come up with your formats? How did you find untrodden ground that allowed your shows to be so unique? I'll take that first. Give you another second to pause.
Get more Gerry
It's juice. A fabulous question, and kind of like music. As somebody who's played in bands at different times in my life, like there's only so many chords. There's only so many. Eventually, all the songs you play or write sound like other songs that you love, and you're going, crap, this sounds too much like Pearl Jam. This sounds too much like, STP. This sounds too much like whatever it is. For me, when we started our podcast, Steve, who isn't with us anymore right now, he's kind of on a hiatus. Steve's going to be back at some point. But when we started this podcast, we were at a Christmas party and we were hanging out, and we both knew how much we love Star Wars, and we were talking about it, and we were just did the same thing. We're like, we should do a podcast. And Steve's wife was there, and she was like, who would listen to that? And our honest answer was, I don't care. Like, if it gives us a chance to talk about Star Wars,
yes,
it doesn't matter who listens. Like, we're doing it for us. Like, it gave us a chance to hang out, talk to each other. I put up weeks ago on Twitter, the very first episode of Podcast of the Wills that I recorded with a microphone from the video game Rock Band, because it had a USB plug in it. And so I could plug that USB plug into my computer, and I held it in my hand, and we recorded our first episode. But what we tried to figure out was, even 3 years ago, there were 70,000 different Star Wars podcasts. One of the first ones that I listened to was Star Wars Minute. I love those guys. I love what they do. That format's unique, so specific. And so right away, that was the question I had, besides the fact that I wanted to do it to talk to my friend about Star Wars, being self-aware enough, I'm going, who's going to give a crap to listen to what I'm talking about? What do we do that's not, here's news and here's this and here's that, other something else. And so for us, Steve's a preacher. I worked in churches for a bunch of years. We're both people of faith, but we're also both, just dudes who love Star Wars. And so we said,
big nerds,
podcast of the Wills, book of the Wills, or journal of the Wills. I'm sorry. What if we did our podcast like it was a Bible study, but instead of it being the Bible was Star Wars? Like, let's do something different. Let's break them down into,
I love that.
Break the movies down into categories. Let's talk about heroism. And what does Star Wars tell us about heroism? What does it teach us about death? What does it teach us about sacrifice? So that was our first original run. And then we did, 2-hour trailer reviews of a 1-30-second movie trailer, like everybody else has done. Just crazy stuff. Mandalorian coming along was, Mandalorian coming along was 8 weeks of guaranteed content, because every week we did a recap episode. And so when season 2 ended, I was like, what are we going to do now? And, Steve has been really busy and had to step away. And so that allowed me to kind of transition to this live format. But also, it's about the personalities and the people you can connect with as much as anything else. That, to me, what makes it listenable. So for us, it was just thinking about, what do we know? Like, what is my lane? What is something that I can relate it to, try to be different, but there's always going to be overlap. There's always going to be, I texted Pete a bunch of times, probably annoyed him when I was getting ready to start doing live streams, to say, look, I don't want it to sound like I'm copying you guys, but like, what I see that y'all do is awesome. I love the engagement. It makes the show better when you can take a question, when you can have people hanging out and chatting along with it. It adds to the show. So I didn't want it to seem like, I'm trying to just, mimic what y'all are doing, but it's a good format. It's fun. It's community. And that's what it's all about, is connecting. So for me, to Framey's question, we just kind of tried the best we could. We may or may not have done it without being completely unique, but y'all have a unique angle. Y'all are very prequels focused. Y'all are very, that's an angle for you guys. Talk about that.
Right. Well, and we focus a little bit more on the prequels now. But I mean, back in the day, we kind of were just, honestly, the Bombad cast, we kind of talked about what we wanted to talk about. We did a little bit. We started out, if you listen to the first few episodes, we'll talk a little bit about news. We used to do the Jar Jar fact, the Jar Jar fact of the week, or Jar Jar, the Bombad fact, Bombad fact
Okay.
of the week or whatever. And we ran out of those fairly quickly. I mean, it took us a whole year almost, but we did bring some Bombad facts back, honestly. I don't know.
It's time.
But
Somehow
it may
Bombad
be
facts have
time.
returned.
Somehow. Oh my gosh, it writes itself. But what you said about the personalities, it really is. That's what makes any show unique, is it's different people and different perspectives. That's why it's not a bad thing that there's so many shows. There needs to be different perspectives. There needs to be this perspective of people of faith talking about Star Wars for what it means to them, right? There needs to be the podcast with all women or something, or women of color, or,
absolutely.
LGBTQ people, like what it means to them. We need to hear what it means to everyone, because that's part of what George made Star Wars to be. I'm preaching a little bit.
And
now.
that's where Star Wars came from. Like, for us talking about, it started out as this whole, like, we're going to take the whole faith thing and shift it to Star Wars. But like half of the mythology in Star Wars comes from Buddhism and Christianity and the hero's journey and Joseph Campbell. Like, that's baked into it automatically. And we all have different versions of that. And if you don't have any of that and you still love Star Wars, awesome, hang out. Like, that's not that's what it is.
That could be your only spiritual guidance, right?
And that's awesome too.
And honestly, like the last, so I'm getting a little in the weeds and stuff of my stuff, and I know we need to get into our thing.
We haven't gotten to the main topic yet, but we
haven't got to the main topic. But I'm digging this. I'll come back and talk about my creatures or whatever, But you spend so much time on these things, so the thing about there's just something about, even if it is I remember what I was saying now. The High Republic Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Are some of the most emotionally and spiritually mature people I've ever read. Like, they're the most emotionally, spiritually pure of the Jedi. And honestly, they say stuff and it makes me apply it to, because I grew up in church as well, right? Sure. I was going to be like I was working in churches and stuff like that. Not that I'm not religious or anything anymore. Just with COVID and everything, it's all been kind of like everyone's life's kind of
everything's weird
at this moment. It's all weird, right? You're trying to do your best and make sure that you're not causing more trouble than needs to be caused. Yeah, that's been a big issue for me this year. But to see someone, I see some of the things that they say in those Jedi books, and I'm like, can apply that to my life as a spiritual a platitude, or also just like a way to live your life. It's a lot of great things of just like, not live and let live, but just like, stand up for the weak, do good for everyone, but don't enable the people who are going to take your gift and do bad with it. That's legit. That's almost straight out of, like, not to get too religious here, where you guys are at church now. It's Sunday. You got me and
right.
Nick. We're in church now.
Come on in.
Well, you take, like, it's ripped straight from scripture, basically, right? Like, of any scripture, honestly, because that's all any kind of really religious text is trying to do, and a good one at least, is it's trying to show you, here's how you need to treat people. If you treat people better, it's going to be a better place for us all. And I think that is the crux of the lesson of Star Wars, and what we all need to take from it. And me and Scotty are weird, and so that's why Bombadcast is so weird. The personalities really just took over, and you cannot. I'm going from one thing to the other, but just real quick.
That's why we're here.
Just real quick. It is odds and poops. That is when we said that no lie is the best way I've ever heard to explain our show, because we will go on big deep dive. We have audiobooks that we made. Basically, we have audiobook length episodes called our Bombad Build-Up. If you want to go back and listen, they're audio only, but like we have the Bombad Build-Up back early. It was like our build-up to Rise of Skywalker. We had like John Hoey and Alice and Laura from Force Toast and all those coming on. And we need to have Laura and Alice on again, because their episode, we bored them to tears. So Alice and Laura, apologies. You need to come on. We'll have a drink and we'll talk.
Huge shout out to the Force Toast ladies. I love their show as well. They're so fun.
Man, so much fun. That's drinking Star Wars as well.
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
So,
without a doubt.
But anyway, just, yeah.
Well, and what I love about this conversation and what we need to do is come back and do this again and get more into these parts that we've talked about, because I do still want to get to what kind of our main event for the night is, because you put some work into it. I put a little, I don't know if I call it work, but I put some
I don't
effort
know if I
into
call it work. I picked the most random ones that popped to mind because it is in no particular order. I will say that.
Absolutely.
It is numbered, but it's in no particular order. I just thought of what are the weird ones that jump out to me that I absolutely love. So,
well, we're going to jump in. I asked Gerry to give me his top 7 Star Wars creatures. He says they're in no particular order, but I did have to number them. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start in numerical order. Or not numerical order. I'm sorry. We're going to go from 7 to 1.
Reverse numerical. Yes,
that's right. Let me get that right. We're going to go from 7 to 1. So whether 1 is his favorite or not, or his number 1 or not, doesn't immaterial. Doesn't matter.
You guys know me. They're all my favorites. I love all my weird children.
We're not picking favorite kids here. So,
no, exactly. You know, you're a father. You know how it is. You can't pick. You don't pick one over the other.
You don't.
Gosh.
It's not the way it works. So
it's cruel.
I'm going to throw number 7 up here, and I'm going to let Gerry start telling us why it's his favorite. Gerry, you know,
I'm becoming Jar Jar. Oh no.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you where that came from. My wife and I are rewatching Deadwood right now, and we're in season 2. Ooh. And when the commissioner comes in, and his name is Commissioner Gerry, like it's stuck in my head. We're in a weird in between.
I'm gonna have to watch
Star Wars land.
I'm gonna have to watch it, and then I will just call myself Gerry for the rest of my life.
That's right,
probably.
Commissioner Gerry. So number 7, Gerry top Star Wars creatures. It's the Tauntaun.
Woo!
Oh, look,
Tauntaun.
We've got this right here.
Oh, look at it.
Here we go. This way.
Oh,
Got it.
Here.
Tauntaun.
Shh. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
We're not going to cut.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's warm in here. I won't cut you open to keep warm out there. Okay. It's okay. We're inside.
Tell us about the Tauntaun, please, Sir Gerry.
So the Tauntaun, I think, was the first creature I fell in love with besides like the Rancor. Right. Because again, I was a big dinosaur kid. What kid isn't into dinosaurs? I think when they're little, but I was like, my parents took me to like this. We went to visit some family in New Mexico, and we went to like the Natural History Museum in Albuquerque, and they had like these just huge like dinosaur, the best I've ever seen, hugest dinosaur bones I've ever seen. Honestly, the only time I've ever seen dinosaur bones. I was very little, and they had like wax figures of like different flying dinosaurs up on the ceiling, right? And I was naming each one of them and stuff for the lady, and they were impressed. I can't do that now. That knowledge has been replaced with tauntauns and other creatures that are of non-realistic nature. Yes, those are creatures that were created by us and not extinct ones. But you've got this lovely fur-covered goat dinosaur that just I've always loved. And that
horse.
Goat dinosaur, they ride them. They're like T-Rexes, but mountain goats, but also just like the sound that they make. I don't know. The sound they make is amazing. I got to play a Tauntaun keeper on what is the name of the podcast? University of Coruscant. Actually, I got to be I keep wanting to say unicorn because they're so special and unique. But the Tauntaun keeper I got to play in one of his episodes, so check that out. But was filled with white sausage links.
Links.
It's like it's almost weirder. It's almost like what is that even? Oh man.
Okay.
So good. So, I love it.
Here's what I did.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What do we got?
I was gonna say I told you that I gave you a little tease of this before we got started, but I didn't give you all the details.
Okay.
Along with each of your 7 creatures that you picked out for us, as I was Googling images of these 7 creatures, after I found the image that I wanted to use for putting up on the screen, again, audio listeners, come check out the YouTube feed. Check this out. You're going to miss some things. But after I found the image that I wanted, I jumped over to the Google Shopping tab, and I decided what is a collectible? What is some sort of thing that would correlate to each of these creature selections that we could use. So here's the one for the Tauntaun. Each of these are called the gift. I don't know. I guess maybe if you were to get this gift, it's the Tauntaun sleeping bag.
Beautiful.
I don't know if you've seen this before. Apparently it's available on GameStop for like $150.
Is it still available? I thought that because I knew that was like a thing on when Think Geek was still a thing, but then GameStop bought them, and then now all these guys on Reddit have bought GameStop. So who knows what's going on anymore? But I think if you open it up, it's got the white sausage links, does it?
Yes, it does. And I don't have a picture of it. I saved it and I forgot to put it up here. But yes, if you open up the sleeping bag, it has the white sausage inside of it.
It's like a print. It's not like a bunch of like stuffed
weird, gross
or something. Yeah. But like, that would be that's horrifying. Opening up a sleeping bag and it's like the viscera of a tauntaun on the inside. Disgusting.
It wouldn't be great. I remember that thing traumatized me when I was a kid. It was not the best. Like he cut that open and all those guts kind of just whatever.
Well, because when you're a little kid, when you're a little kid, you don't know what intestines look like. So you're like, oh my gosh, is that what I look like on the inside?
And then you had to think he's going to shove him inside of there.
Yeah. Well, but at least he got a cool, funny line in. I thought they smelled bad.
On the outside.
You got to do the couple of breaths. But,
well delivered. Well delivered.
Thank you. But the one thing I did want to mention before we move on is it reminds me of there was like a bad guy or monster on Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? That was like a giant Arctic dinosaur that was covered in fur. And it's like a tauntaun. It's like a giant, scary tauntaun who wants to eat talking dogs and hippies. So.
Well, and as I look at this sleeping bag on here, the gentleman in the sleeping bag kind of resembles Tormund from Game of Thrones a little bit with the red beard and the long hair. So I could see some, Hoth, Star Wars, Game of Thrones crossover there somewhere along the way.
There you go. Like, well, I'm sure that in Game of Thrones, they've, that is how they make sleeping bags. Is they just cut open whatever creature is nearby and sleep.
Shove you inside. It's the way to go.
Yeah.
All right.
I always think that makes me think of The Revenant. That's the worst, most realistic one I've ever seen. Have you seen that? He gets out and he's like, anyway, continue. We don't need to continue on this.
No, we don't.
That movie's great.
Number 6, we have the Gundark.
Woo!
The classic Gundark.
I'm not strong enough to pull the ears off of one of these things. But,
neither am I. But it's a key line from Empire Strikes Back. After Luke is rescued, after he's been in his underwear in the back to tank, maybe right before he gets kissed by his sister, Han Solo tells him, "You look strong enough to pull the ears off a Gundark." And how many of us growing up thought, what does that look like? What does that mean? Well, guess what, friends?
Yeah.
Here's what that means.
Oh, wait, I went the wrong way. Ah!
That's right. He's attacking Gerry.
Easy, boy. Easy.
You audio listeners are going to hate this. I'm sorry. Audio listeners, please check out the video.
We still call Bombadcast. Like sometimes we're like, podcast. We're starting to transition. We're a YouTube show now. Because we just love visual gags too much. But you got, look, one line from Star Wars spawns so much. And these guys are from like or something. The Clone Wars is where I think they were heavily featured in a few episodes. Like they land on Vancouver or something a couple of times, the first season or whatever. And it was just kind of a cool design because when you look at it, you can't really see it on this one, but it almost like walks like Sebulba. Like on its like arms and stuff. And It's got like these little arms right here and then some bigger ones down there that are legs, but also just not. It's really strange, but it's really, really cool. It's kind of a cool design.
And it's muscular, which gives you the idea that if you're strong enough to pull the ears off that thing, it's like telling you, hey, you can pull the ears off Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Gerry. That's a big deal. Like, got some muscle guy.
Oh yeah. But I'm just thinking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just pounding me into like tauntaun viscera and stuff.
That's right. So, so we have a gift to go along with our Gundark.
Okay. I love gifts.
It's a Gundark ears t-shirt.
And no way.
I like the effort that they put into this for the top part of it to resemble a Star Wars logo, but fill it with all of the words that say "strong enough to pull the ears off a Gundart" with a
That's
couple
really
of
cool.
disembodied ears.
Okay,
and apparently this shirt is good for men, women, not men and women, men, women.
Men, women. It's for the men, women. You know,
it's for the men, women in your life.
The men, women, the men, women.
Men, women.
Do Josh and Andy know that this exists? Because I feel like this is like right up their alley. So Josh, if you're not watching,
we need to make sure this in that way.
That needs to make it to, because I'm sure we will see that on the next like Holo Chronicles stream.
Well, and I think for the Holo Chronicles, it doesn't need to be a T-shirt. It needs to be a print that they can frame and put on their wall. That's really their lane. That's right.
Frame the T-shirt, you know?
Frame the T-shirt. Why not? Jerseys, you can do it, all kinds of stuff.
Josh and Andy are the best men, women I know.
The men, women you know. All right, let me get this off of here. Let's get us to number 5. And I'm going to go ahead and say with number 5, Gerald, my friend. I was unaware of the Rogwart. You caught me off guard with this one. It's a deeper pull than I was prepared for.
It's the most obscure one I picked, and I kind of was like, honestly, it's kind of a new find for me. Like I knew of it, and I've looked it up before, but I finally remember. Look at this thing.
Look at it. It belongs in the movie Alien.
That's what I was about to say. Is it looks like it was like created by like it should be in a Ridley Scott film, right? Yes. Like who's the concept artist who came up with the alien fit? I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of his name. This is how good we are at like being hosts.
Well, and like you said, you got me in the light, so now I'm not going to think of it.
Yeah, I know exactly. No, neither one of us are. But Geiger was the one who made that famous design. And I mean, this thing is terrifying. This is actually, I think if I'm looking correctly, yes, this one is the pet of General Grievous. It is General Grievous's pet in the Clone Wars. If you remember the episode where they go to Grievous's lair, his home,
right?
He sets this thing free, and it's got like armor, and it's almost like, what in the world? HR guy, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michael. But I remember like when I was doing a watch through this year going like, what is this thing's name again? Because I looked it up, but I keep forgetting. I'm like, I know it's a creature, but it just looks like General Grievous.
It does look like
if General Grievous,
multiple appendages. Yeah,
it's like if Grievous was a dinosaur. Yeah,
it makes perfect sense.
But it almost looks. It's one of those things where it looks almost too horrifying to even be in Star Wars. But that's what I love about Star Wars. Just about anything can fit in there. You can make it work. But
you mentioned Lady Proxima earlier. That's like a weird, bigger version of the Dianoga from the Death Star. Like that big thing pops up out of the water. Like, let's just make it bigger and talk. That's fine.
Yeah. And I don't even get me started on how much I think that people hate her for no reason. I'm just saying that's a great character design. I'm sorry. I love the voice in everything. I love the voice in everything. I'm sorry. Some of them have to speak basic. Some of them speak the same language as Han Solo, and it's okay, right? Isn't it? Okay, so there's also, apparently there is one in like the first run of the Star Wars Marvel comics that came out right after like 2015 when Disney bought, there's one, it's Luke is like captured by, I forget the name of the hut that's in there. It's like the big buff hut who like, he's looking for Jedi artifacts. He loves lightsabers and stuff.
Right.
He's actually got like robot spider legs or something to carry him around. He's more of like he gets around more than Jabba and the other huts. But he makes him fight a Rugwort in like it's like, I think it's on the Smuggler's Moon when they're on Nar Shaddaa. They put Luke into an arena and they release a Rugwort and stuff. Right. And so what I love about this thing is this thing's name is Gore. Okay. And to hear like before Grievous, this is what I love about it is General Grievous, this bad guy, walks into his house before he knows Jedi, and there's like Gore. Like if you've seen that episode, is like calling for his dog, like, Gore.
Yep.
Gore.
He's calling him to him.
he's gonna like throw like a giant tennis ball or something, or like a Gungan's head or whatever, for him to chase down. Like it's just, I love that. That's how weird. It's one of those weird things that's like
It's
he
a
put
good
all
weird.
this weird armor. He put all this weird armor, but it's his pet. But it looks like a T-Rex and
It's like a dog
the queen
sweater.
from. It looks like it looks like the queen from Alien and the T-Rex from Jurassic Park had a love child, terrifying love child,
Terrifying
and
love child. Well,
I love it so much.
okay. Well, I don't want this to break your heart or throw you off, but when I hit the shopping tab, and I thought,
this was the one I was interested about.
what is the Rogwart gift going to be? Your search, Rogwart, did not match any shopping results.
It's a crime. It's a travesty.
There's no gifts. But here's the thing: it's a seller's market, Jerry. You could start creating all the Rogwart gifts and merchandise you want to.
My goodness.
This is going to be your My Pillow, My Geode. It's your Rogwart. This is going to be the Gerry My Rogwart gift. Whatever your heart can make.
This one won't whisper QAnon conspiracy theories though while you sleep to you, so I think we'll be fine. But
totally fine.
Oh man, I want to make a Rogwart pillow, like a gore pillow, just like his face, like
or like a body pillow, like the people shaped like body pillows, but it's Rogwart size, and you get to like snuggle it
with like a bunch of weird tentacle thingies on it and stuff. Like
really complicated to make.
You know how many people online in our Twitter space would probably love that thing?
3. I'm going to say 3.
But Tori Fox online, who we've had on the show recently, she runs Creature Cartel and stuff. She's into just as much weird stuff as me and Scotty are. Oh, yeah. And I think that she would, and honestly, Tori, if you hear or see any of this, I might at you on Twitter. Please make some Rogwart stuff, because I will love you forever.
Here we go. Oh, well, that's not it. Gilster. All right, this is what I was coming for, Seth. Oh, you could become Gerry the Rogwart junkie.
I just changed the My Pillow guy hugging Geode. I just actually put my head on him today because I think it freaked people out with all that it was too soon. I was trying to be like very like, I'm in the hip, I'm in the now. And I think people were like saying like stuff like Raven was like, I'll save you, Geode, and stuff like that. So I had to switch and put my face on it. So people were like, guys, it's okay. It's me hugging Geode now. It's okay.
Totally, Gerry. Okay. All right. Well, let's keep going. Let's get to number 4. Number 4 is a great one. Number 4 is a classic. I didn't know what number 4 was. Crate Dragon, baby. Crate Dragon. Crate Dragon experiencing a little bit of a renaissance, if we will, with The Mandalorian season 2.
The best renaissance.
Such a good, and I want to bring up, I've got 2 images for this before we get to the gift, which is also awesome. The first one, because I am a sucker for concept anything, production anything, how does it get made anything?
Oh, yeah.
There is a Ralph McQuarrie Crate Dragon concept art.
Ooh, I think I've seen this. Yes.
I forgot to take out the background, so we don't get to be in this picture, but that's fine because
that's okay because they don't need to see us. They don't need to see us.
That's right. This is way better. Here's what's amazing about this. You get the dragon, but you've essentially got in the concept version what I think is Luke and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
In that early confrontation when we see them in Star Wars, when Obi-Wan comes to rescue Luke after he's been attacked, that whole deal. These 2 guys in the foreground, I think, are the 2 of them, but like, this is to me, without wings, this is a very traditional dragon kind of feel. Yeah. We don't know what a space dragon looks like.
I like this. I like it.
Yeah, it's good. So we have that, but then what we also have is the more, and not well cropped. There wasn't a background to remove. In fact, Canva told me there's no background here. So it's us. We're lean out a little bit. You'll be fine.
There you go. We'll go like this.
But this is essentially the concept art for the Crate Dragon that we got in Mandalorian season 2 in the Marshall. In fact, that little jet streak that you see there is the Mando flying away. But the Crate Dragon for us, and especially for anybody who was early Star Wars OT, that was that big skeleton in the desert when Obi-Wan,
Right.
I mean, when 3PO and R2 leave in the escape pod, get down there, like that was that thing in the background. That was that big, what the hell is this? Like, you know, it was
Right.
setting a stage. And like so many things in Star Wars, they get a story 20, 30 years down the road. It gets to be fleshed out. You have a certain point of view book. You have any number of other things that create a story for these other things. Crate Dragon's amazing. I just tell me, this is your list. What do you got for Crate Dragon?
I mean, they've always been, you know, it's always been something like Crate Dragon's kind of a cool reference to know and stuff, right? Because you're like, oh, those bones in the desert when, you know, when C-3PO, like you're saying, like that's a cool thing. Like, oh, that's a Crate Dragon. But there was so much to love for me. There's so much that I love about the first episode of season 2 of Mando. With, for one thing, the book character Cobb Vanth coming back. It started to go, yes, everything does matter, which is, for me, a self-proclaimed canon junkie, the best, right? Okay, and you've got this gloriously weird and like that episode was like, I'm thinking it had notes of Deadwood for you. We're gonna be episode connoisseurs. So it was the most Western of any of the episodes so far, for one thing. I actually really love the feel of like a good Western. Okay. You put that in Star Wars. Star Wars is Western. Star Wars is pirates. Star Wars is it's everything. It's samurai. It's all of that. You had that on top of like like vibes from Tremors, which was a big thing. Like I remember watching that on the Sci-Fi Channel. That came on the Sci-Fi Channel like every weekend when I was a kid. Right, like some form of Tremors. So I was watching the movie Tremors and all that. But just to have it also, it spews acid. It's so weird. It had vibes of like the Zillow Beast, which I wasn't a big fan of back when it first came out. But I like this. I like this a lot. And have you seen the concept art for that?
No, I haven't.
There is concept art. Well, have you seen? I think it was on. I'm trying to think where I saw it. I think it was on the gallery episode, the only one that they did for this season. It has feet.
Oh yeah, I did see that. You're right. Yeah,
but like it's way down, and I'm like, just that they thought it out that much, where they have this whole thing, but we're only seeing such a small portion of it, which made it feel. And of course, you got that trick where they went from like wide. Now we're in IMAX, even though you're watching it on your TV. It made it go, you don't even notice, you just go, holy crap, that thing's huge. And it made it feel bigger and more insurmountable that we never saw the whole thing. And that's like classic filmmaking to me. That's like back in the day, you know, like Jaws, you're supposed to see the shark more, right?
Right.
But you didn't see, like the shark wouldn't work, so they didn't have it in there. And now that movie still works to this day because you only see the mechanical shark like at the end. And that there's something about like just that way of filmmaking where make it mysterious, and the less you show of it. But like, I mean, they show a lot of this thing, but we don't see its full body and stuff, and we don't see the feet and all that they're talking about. We get to see its innards, which a little more. It's a little more gory than the sausage links. Little goopy, big old chunk. That big old chunk made me hungry though. Whenever they're like roasting it over the pod racer engine, I bet that tastes really good.
Yeah, totally good.
Yeah, but just everything about that episode, everything they brought about this Crate Dragon from what we'd heard before, but also how much new they put into it to make it a new thing, to make it fresh, to make it something that you'd never seen before in Star Wars, but that makes sense that it's there. That it was living in an old Sarlacc pit. Like, well, you can't. That's impossible, and not if you eat the Sarlacc. Just
correct. Well, and it has such great. For me, it has such great connection because, for me, who grew up with the original trilogy as like my original early Star Wars, early whatever, you have that scene. Luke's been attacked by the Tusken Raiders. He's unconscious. They're coming for more, and Obi-Wan comes out of nowhere, and he makes this weird noise. And as a kid, I had no idea what was going on, other than there was this weird siren-y kind of noise, and they all freaked out and left.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got old enough at some point where you read something that told you he was making the noise of a crate dragon, which scared off the Tusken Raiders.
Right.
And like, it's so deep and you had to dig and mine for what is going on and these layers to then go, okay, a crate dragon. And then like, well, so what does that mean? Oh, that must have been the skeleton. It's like, it unpacks over, gosh, 42 years now of,
there's so much that
keeps giving.
Yeah. Star Wars is the gift that keeps on giving because it's so deep, and that's what you don't have to put those layers in. But that people kind of like say, oh, well, like they'll say like the new stuff, they go back and they fix things after the fact. That's been Star Wars the whole time. They didn't have these books written out when the movies were made. That's just people flesh this stuff out. And that's what's so cool about it is it feels so lived in. It feels so real because you can just dig and dig and dig and you never reach the bottom, right? It's just, it's a little maddening, but as long as you don't lose yourself, it's fun.
That's right. Or become angry at the world. Either one.
If you become angry about physics in Star Wars, I don't know how to help you, son. I'm sorry.
We got to move on. But speaking of the gift that keeps on giving, here's our crate gift.
Ooh.
This purportedly on the internet, you can buy a section of that bone that was in Star Wars in 1977 in the desert. Somebody, in theory, chipped that prop into little bitty bits, and you can get it framed with a picture and a little bit of a bone. One of my children is obsessed with the Titanic, and apparently there's things going around like this where you can buy like a tiny sliver of coal that supposedly was in. I'm not sure. I'm buying all that, but. So your crate dragon gift that you could get for yourself is a little piece of that bone statue, whatever it is, from the internet. It's there. It's the internet.
That's so
you can
beautiful.
Get whatever you want.
Scotty, my buddy Scotty actually got this.
Does Scotty have this?
Scotty has this and a piece of, no lie, they have one that's like a small sliver of one of Steve Jobs' sweaters. And stuff. So he's got a piece of Steve Jobs' sweater, and he went kind of crazy. He was like, you guys are all getting something like this next year for the BTBD Christmas thing.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Excellent. Okay, we've got 3 more. We're going to keep this moving.
We got to power through. I know I'm a talker.
Luth Cat, or Tuca Cat. And if we don't know, I mean, this is where it's at, right there. This guy.
We go. Try to pet him like that. Oh, he's a good kitty. You want some belly rubs? I'm going to stop. This is what's taking so long.
That's okay. It's totally cool. Loth Cat, Tuca Cat. So here's my question, because I know that when we first saw this in season 1 of The Mandalorian, on the episode when he meets Cara Dune, there's one in the Sanctuary planet. I think that's the episode, Sanctuary. There's one, whatever. And everybody's like, holy crap, Loth Cat. And we had a bunch of people like us on the internet. We're like, actually, that's not a Tuca Cat. It's not a Loth Cat. Are Loth Cats specific to Lothal?
Not necessarily. I mean, Tuca Cats kind of are all throughout. They're like 2 different breeds because Tucas were in Clone Wars, right? They're a little more purplish gray.
Okay.
And then you've got these, which are, just kind of more cat-like, kind of like more earthy looking. I honestly think because we see more Tucas or Loth Cats in season 2 of The Mandalorian, the episode with Ahsoka, when they're in which is great because they're like, it's like the cats in like okay. I like cats and dogs. I'm a both person. But for a while, whenever I first got married, we had a, and he's still alive, just not with me currently. But we had you guys have probably seen him on the Bombad Cast on a live stream. Sometimes Jack would like pop up and everything. I absolutely love cats. It's the first cat I've gotten to live with. My dad was allergic, and he was like my buddy. He'd come up and get in your lap. He wanted the attention. That's the thing. Is people always think like cats don't care. To an extent, they don't. Until they do, then they're like, please give me some attention. I love you so much. You're the best thing in my life. And that vibe of just like kind of being like chill, but also like, hey, what's up, man? You gonna give me some cuddles? Cool. I want to get it. I was this close the other day to Adopting a cat. Now, I am going to adopt a cat eventually. I got to get a new place and all that first, but I want to name it Tuca, I think,
Nice.
or
I
something
like
like that. Because
Totally works.
I'm like, that's just, I want something like that. Just like a beautiful creature, who just, I don't know, just, I love loft cats. I just love
I'm
loft
with
cats.
you.
If I were in
Totally
Star
with
Wars,
you.
that's the pet I
Well,
would own.
and to me, it added such a great element. For me, loft cats are rebels because you have Ezra, you have the time on Lothal. You know, they really spent a lot of time in the storytelling developing the Force connection to nature. Loth cats, the spiders, I forget what they're called. They weren't the same spiders, you know, when they were on whatever it was, the Purrgil, like all of those, like that's a whole aspect of the Force, is to be able to communicate with nature, communicate with, you know, wildlife and all that stuff. So to me, that's where, you know, loth cats, you know, really hit their stride. And then to see it in Mandalorian was like, oh yeah, I know what that is. We have a gift. We do have a gift.
This might be the one that I've seen. What?
This is,
that's
I believe,
from the creature thing, right?
this is a Galaxy's Edge something. It's basically a stuffed loth cat that can stand up. It has a little cardboard looking crate. Probably that it was shipped in Cricknas. That was the spider that I couldn't come up with the name.
I was about to say, I was at Cricknax or Cricknas. Yeah. Thank you for him.
Yes. So this is our gift. It's a loth cat, you know, stuffed animal, stuffed creature. It's got a little box that you go in. My kids would eat this up because we have more stuffed animals than we know what to do with. Such is the nature of having kids. Number 2.
It is what it is.
We're coming in. We're circling in on the good stuff.
Oh, yes, baby.
Porgs. Oh, baby.
Woo!
Porgs, the gift that we didn't know we were going to need or get. There he is.
Oh, look at you. Look at you.
I mean, look at that face.
I remember seeing whenever the concept art leaked, and it was kind of like really cartoony, like 3 porgs stacked on top of each other. They look like little snowmen.
Yes.
With wings. And I was like, wait, what? This is before Last Jedi came out. I was like, what is that? Seeing them in Last Jedi, I absolutely love these things. And I love that in canon, they are technically, there's that family of porgs that gets onto the Falcon is still on the Falcon.
Yes.
Like that's part of it. The Galaxy's Edge, which I plan on getting after I sell my house, get a new house, get all my money I'm going to be getting. I'm going to be coming into a little bit of a good chunk of change here pretty soon. The one thing I'm going to do for myself, besides get a place to live in, which, you know, that's a necessity. The one frivolous thing I want to do is get that Galaxy's Edge, the
Falcon,
Millennium Falcon, because it comes with it comes with an armload of porgs for Chewbacca.
A bunch of porgs. Yes,
it comes with an armload, and I love that to no end, and I want it so bad. But porgs were just, they came around at the perfect time. I had just had my kid that year and stuff, you know, and like, so we got her a little porg mama that was like soft, and it came with 2 of the little porglet babies. They're just like basically balls with, you know, like fuzzy little like balls of porg with like the eyes and stuff. They look a little gross, but also cute at the same time, you know, kind of like newborn chicks and stuff like that. But I don't know what it is about the porgs. They just like, they kind of look like seals, but also pugs.
A little bit penguin-y, a little bit
penguins.
pug. Yep.
With Puffin Rock is a I don't know if you're familiar with this with your kids. Puffin Rock on Netflix is a great kid show that's very relaxing, and it reminds me of that. It takes place in Ireland on one of those type of islands with puffins and stuff like that. That's why they created the porgs, right? They had to think of something because there were so many puffins
because there were puffins hanging out. That's right. Excellent. Well, this gift, this might be the gift that you need in your life.
Oh, buddy. Let's see.
There's a Chewie. It's a hat, and it's got Chewie holding some porgs in his lap with some sort of Japanese, or like it's kind of got this anime vibe. I think this is also
like a little bit of that old like Oriental kind of like Eastern like looking like art style or something.
Yes,
like it would be painted.
Absolutely.
on like a one of those partitions or something. That's beautiful.
That's right.
Beautiful.
Chewy with a pork in his lap on a trucker hat. Who doesn't need that? I mean, come on. Let's not kid
I've
ourselves.
had trucker hats since college, so it's probably about time to get one.
Way back in the day. All right. Well, here we are. We're at number 1, Gerry. The big deal. The big one.
Deal. In no particular order.
It's the Nexu.
The Nexu.
And here we go. Speaking of things that kind of might terrify you, boom.
Ah!
This guy. In fact, he's got his butt in your face.
I know, like, oh, no. Oh, like I'm going the wrong way. No.
Yeah, get right in there. The Nexu.
Get right.
Attack of the Clones. In the arena. The big battle, the big showdown. We have, and I'm gonna put you on the spot. We're gonna hit quick unplanned trivia. It was a Nexu. What were the other two?
Oh, Acklay and Reek.
There it is. That's right. Nexu, Acklay, and the Reek. Cannon Junkie. The title remains.
I almost chose because like when Attack of the Clones came out, I was obsessed with these 3 creatures, right? Because we got some good, like we got the Sando Aqua Monster and the fish, all the fish in the first one. Then we got these things in the thing. I love, this is the one that doesn't get as much love, I feel like. Because not only is it a terrifying creature, it is also a terrific fashion designer in that it like creates Padme's midriff look.
That's
and
right.
Stuff. So good for her. Good for her.
Right. Do a little editing on that outfit.
Yeah, but like, it's like a tiger meets like with like the mouth of like a. It's got like a I don't know. It's like a lizard tiger with rat tail. It's got 4. It's like 4 eyes, right? It's a little insectoid.
Yeah,
and it's a little bit of everything. It is okay. Did you watch any Lovecraft Country, the show that just came on? Okay, remember the things that are in there, the burrowing like weird, like the Shoggoths. Which if you any Lovecraftian creature, this is a Lovecraftian creature right here. It is something that is ununderstandable. It is like it's a chimera of the worst sort. And I love it so much.
It's good. It really is good. And like you said, and from a design standpoint, it almost feels like whatever day whoever designed and had the final say on this was like, let's throw in some extra eyes, split the tail, give it like throw some stuff in there. Like we're just going for it. It doesn't matter.
Doug Chang was just like, Doug Chang had like a 5-hour energy that day. It was like, whoa, we're going to do all this here. I don't know why.
Going for the whole thing. All right. Well, we have your Nexu gift. And I'm hoping that as a canon junkie, as a prequel guy, either you or Scotty, either one already have this.
I do not.
There is a Nexu toy that exists in one of those early lines, prequel lines.
It is the Attack of the Clones line, and I wanted all of these. I just never I couldn't talk my parents into getting them at the time because I was still under there. I didn't have a job or anything. Those were the ones I didn't get because they had the Reek with Anakin.
Yes.
Oh man, and I had after the special editions came out, they came out with like the Jabba the Hutt. That's like the hairline. They came out with the Ronto, which I own, the Tauntaun, the Rancor, all that stuff. I have all of those, the Dewback and all that came out for that. I do not have these, and I need to rectify that. I'm just now getting back I'm getting back into a phase where I'm like, I kind of want to go back and collect those things now that I don't have them, right? Like that's
we know thanks to Twitter that Andy was over cleaning out Josh's garage and stores of extra things the other weekend. You may need to hit up your friend Andy and find out if one of these is hanging out in Washington waiting for you.
If you have any Nexus, I mean, I'll meet you halfway in Missouri or something. Maybe it's close. Maybe something closer. Somewhere around there.
Whatever you can do.
Oh,
Wow.
that's
What a
beautiful.
list.
Beautiful.
What a list. That was a amazing 7 list, top 7 creatures.
Thank you.
Like you said, no specific order. It doesn't have to be a specific order. It's all great. There's so many creatures that you could have gone with. There's so
They're
many
all
things.
weird too.
But it's
which
your
is what I
list
love.
and weird is fine. There's nothing wrong with
Oh, I
weird.
love weird. Heck no. Weird is my wheelhouse.
Weird
Which I
is how
think
we get
everyone
down.
knows. Weird is
how we get down.
Best way to be, man.
Absolutely. Well, we're at an hour and a half, which is amazing. We've gone well beyond the normal line, and I'm fine with it. I want to thank and shout out our live chat. I want to thank our folks that are still hanging out. We've still got viewers talking to us, hanging out. Thank y'all so much for being here tonight. If you're listening to the audio podcast and you've gotten through the entire hour and a half, you deserve a treat. Treat yourself. Go get a Blizzard from Dairy Queen.
Welcome.
But make yourself some Gerry juice, whatever you need to do. Gerry, we're wrapping up. We're closing in on the end. I can't thank you enough for being here. I want you to do some plugs. Talk about Bombadcast, what you guys have coming up soon, if you have anything to tease. Also, if we're talking about teases, not 2 hours ago, there was a new little something that popped up on the internet. Talk about whatever you want. Talk about where everybody can find you.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at the Canon Junkie and stuff, which I haven't. Gosh, we haven't done plugs. We haven't plugged our social media in so long in the Bombadcast. It's ridiculous. But if you like the weird ramblings you heard tonight, if you're a listener of Podcast of the Wills and you've not heard me and you're like, I'm okay that this guy talked for an hour and a half, come find me. But yeah, at the Canon Junkie. And also Bombadcast, we do live shows now. This is going to be we just started like midway through January, I think. So I think we're coming up on 4 or 5 live episodes, which is not what we were doing. But now, we did that because we thought it was time. And, now Beyond the Blast Doors is kind of like the only network with like 5 every weeknight. There's a live show going on sometime like in the evening. And that is just a fun time. So come hang out with us there. But you can find us. You can follow us at Bombadcast. You can find us on all your podcast bits and bobs. And you can also, yes, I said bits and bobs. And you can honestly, find us on the Beyond the Blast Doors network, because we truly do a lot of visual gags and stuff like that. And so we are more YouTube show than podcast now. But so something that kind of came out of today, I've wanted to do this for a while now, especially since WandaVision started. I've been wanting to talk about Marvel type of stuff. And I finally just I put something out there today and had a lot of people going like, yeah, I'd listen. And all today, I came up with a name, made a graphic, and recorded just some random bit of nonsense as a trailer. And so you can go right now. I believe it's just on Spotify. It said it's getting approved for the other things still. But Spotify, they'll just roll with whatever because they're madmen. But but you can right now check out on Spotify my trailer for the Cosmic Cube Cast, which is going to be my did I even say that right? It's such a new show. I don't even
you got it.
Literally, this is the first day it's even existed. And I'm like, I made that trailer to basically double down and say, okay, now I have to do something because it's out there. Otherwise, people are going to hate me. Okay. But no, go check it out. I'm not entirely sure when the first episode is going to drop yet, but look for it by the end of February. And I believe I'm going to go, and it is just me right now. I am going to go bi-weekly. And I'm going to go that means the every other week version of bi-weekly, not the 2 episodes a week bi-weekly. Whichever one you want to say. But I can't say my first guests on there are going to be Arzu Amin and Scotty J-Ro. And we're going to be talking about we're going to be gushing about this golden age we live in that we never thought we would live in, where we have these television shows on streaming connecting to the films in such a big way, in such a profound way. But come hang out with us there. Yeah. But then, and also, I have to plug this real quick. Not this week, but next Thursday, the next Thursday after this coming Thursday, Bombadcast, we're going to have a producer of the Jim Henson show on Netflix, Earth to Ned. Actually, Scott Stenholm is going to be on our show, and he actually was the producer for the Star Wars episode of Earth to Ned and the episode with Miss Gina Carano, which isn't all our favorite anymore, but she's okay. She's okay. But seriously, go check out Earth to Ned if you're a Jim Henson fan. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's so funny. It's so good. But anyway, so that's coming up pretty soon, and we've got another. If I can nail him down, we've got another guy who I'm really excited, and if you know who he is, I think you'll be excited as well. But I can't. That's all I can say right now because I don't want to get everyone's hopes up.
Good tease.
A little bit of sizzle.
I like it. A little bit of sizzle. Keep them wanting more. Gerry, this has been so much fun. We could go for another hour and a half, but I know that I've got people inside my house that want me to show up. You want to get to bed. We've got things to get. Life continues tomorrow. By people who want you to show up, it's your family. So that's I will indeed let you go, sir, to be with your family. But thank you for letting me hold you hostage on your own show. It's my pleasure. I'm so glad to have you. We'll definitely have you back. In fact, I'm going to have Scotty on at some point. And then as we talked about last week, I'm going to have both of you on and we're going to just go crazy. The three of us, that's two more shows.
Shut down on YouTube and
we're going to shut down here, shut down there, shut down everywhere. I want to say thanks to all of our listeners. Thanks to those that tuned in tonight. Another shout out to Framey. Frank, I'm glad you're feeling better. We're so glad you're up and moving again. If y'all are listening, check us out. You can find us on Twitter at WillsPod. We would love for you to engage with us on Twitter. Links to the podcast on Anchor. Leave us a message. I kind of keep trying to push people to leave us a message on Anchor. We could mix that into the show somewhere. But thank you for hanging out. I hope y'all have a great week. There's lots coming up, lots going on in life. And until we meet up again, may the force be with you always.